Hello, everybody. Welcome to Friday. The Friday night chat show is here. The writing community chat show is back, and we are still enjoying the clips that we are showing from Wednesday's show with Wildine, Jumpy Wildine, as we're now calling him. But we're here, and Chris is here, and we've got a great show lined up for you guys. So please stick around. Please engage. We are live, so please share that stream for us. Jump on the comments, chat with us wherever you're watching from, and let us know where you're watching from, because it always interests us. But hello, Chris. How are you doing? Back into the stairs, I see.
Yeah, I am under the stairs. I was kind of expecting you to be in some fancy dress attire like you last week, like you were. So
every Friday.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm slightly disappointed.
Oh, Chris.
Yeah, you were all Harry Styles up last week, and that was fun.
There has been a few comments, certainly on Twitter, from mentions of the leopard print jacket I was wearing and the chest exposure. It's definitely been highlighted. Vince is on the chat already. Hello, Vince. Thanks for sharing and commenting already, guys. If you are doing so, fantastic to engage with you always. And if you're on Twitch today, have a fiddle around and let me know what's on screen, because we don't know what's on there. So let us know if things are happening or not. We've got a great guest coming up, and we can't wait to introduce that person. Anything happened before we do that, Chris? Anything interesting?
Not in the UK, but in America, they're having a great time at the moment, aren't they?
They are, yeah. I imagine many people. Do you know what? I never realized that Thanksgiving, by the way, Thursday. Happy Thanksgiving, America. 53% of our fan base American, which is huge. It's like Christmas. They have like a full-on thing and drinking, family, and all sorts of stuff. They must be feeling the after effects now, and all bloated and that tiredness.
Yeah, perfect time to watch a podcast show and
yeah,
sit back and buy some books.
Yeah. So talking of America, I will explain why that is relevant in a minute. Beer token book promotion. Last week on Wednesday, I was actually drinking squash, which I can't believe, because we didn't have a sponsor for the show that week for the first time ever. But it's been redeemed, and we have indeed got a sponsor for tonight. And this is a special sponsor, Chris Hooley, so don't jump the guns. Wait. This is a book release today. The book is out today, and they're sponsoring the show today, which is fantastic. So that person is this week's beer token book promotion is at, this is a hard one, Lilli. What's that say? Lilloraine? It's a really hard name to pronounce. That on Twitter, that thing there. Across the bottom. Her book is called Beautiful Trauma. It's out today. It's available as an ebook and paperback. On Instagram, you can follow her, author CM Mills.
That's Lillian Ryan, isn't it? Or Rainey?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that the name? Lillian. That makes sense.
There's lots of Liz.
So Lacey Smith has moved on and gotten back on her feet after an abusive relationship. It hasn't been easy for her when her past seems to continue and haunt her over and over again. Some days she wonders if she'll ever get back to being herself. She has lost faith in relationships altogether. What good are they if all they do is end in broken hearts? But then until he appears. That definitely seems like a catch-22 there. So please check that book out, and thank you for sponsoring the show. Of course, let's put the book up there. Let me just pop the cover up first. That's Beautiful Trauma there. CM Mills. Looks fantastic. Yeah.
Looks CM Mills. Like Wildine.
It does, yeah. There's a guitar behind instead of an axe, though. And he hasn't got his lumberjack shirt on. So thank you for doing that. And I will pop your book cover up in the corner to put Chris out of his misery. Will I do that? That is the question. Yes, I will. There it is. There we go. Thank you very much. Thank you indeed. So that's why it links to America. I have a beer called Jungle Drum Machine, and that is an American pale ale. So happy Thanksgiving. I will enjoy this, and thank you for your sponsor. Hello, guys. Hello on the chat. So are you ready to get the guest on, Chris?
I am indeed. I can't wait to speak to this guest. She's already so much fun from just a few seconds that we've had her on the show previously in our green room. I can't wait to get her on.
Do you know what we're going to do? I know we mentioned this just now, but what we could do is if anyone there's a dog lingering around in the background, and it's quite fantastic. And if someone can guess the right name of that dog, I tell you what, right now, actually, if you can guess the right name of that dog throughout this show, I will buy you your ebook tonight.
Yeah, and we'll also give a copy of the guest book away. I'll buy that. So I'll buy a copy of the guest book, and we'll give a copy of that away as well.
What a competition that is. Hello to everyone on the chat. Hello. Whoa, hello, everybody. So that's a great guess the dog's name, and we will give 2 books away tonight. And well, we buy one and give one away. So tonight's guest, let's get her on. It is a her, and her name is Julie Cohen, former English teacher turned novelist, and she has sold over 1 million books, which is an absolute incredible achievement. I've sold like 1 this month, I think. So well done to you. So let's get her on. Hello, Julie. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. My dog is laid down, so you can't see her. There she is.
Hey, there she is. Oh, there's a clue. It's a she. So get guessing, guys.
Yeah.
How are you doing today? How's things?
I'm all right. I'm doing much better since I saw you guys were drinking beer. So cheers.
Happy Friday. This is the Friday night chat show, and this is what it's all about. It's kind of letting off steam and getting past the week, and all the writing we may have done or not done yet, feeling guilty. It is nearly the end of November, so if you're doing NaMoWriMo, either commiserations at the moment or very good luck to continue, and well done. So it's a tough one. Is her name Sophia? No. And Anya, hello doggy. That's not very creative. And hello cutie. So
that was you, Julie.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Julie, where are you coming from in the world tonight?
I'm in Reading in Berkshire, about 40 miles west of London. But I'm actually American, so we were celebrating Thanksgiving last night.
Oh, amazing. And was I correct in suggesting that it's like kind of Christmas, like it's a really big event in that respect?
It's a huge event for family.
Yeah.
It's not gifts or anything, but it's just a time when your family all gets together and has a big meal together. Although not this year, obviously.
It's terrible, isn't it? And that is kind of the one thing that people love about the festive period or whatever period that family can get together and enjoy that. So for a lot of writers, it's kind of normal to sit and kind of be a recluse and just get on with your typing. But for a lot of people, they're struggling. So not a great time, but hopefully we're seeing the back end of it very soon. I hope.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, indeed. So in Reading, how come, I know that we mentioned that you were an English teacher at some point. How come you were an American person that came over to England? And I believe you went to university here as well. How did that happen, and kind of why did that happen?
I came over to study. I actually came over my my 3rd year of American university, undergraduate. And I made friends and I fell in love with the country. So I came back to do my postgraduate degree. And that's why I'm at the why I'm in Reading, because I did my postgraduate degree at the University of Reading and ended up just staying here.
Wow, that's amazing. How different was that from, what age was that? Were you quite a young age at that point? And was that kind of a massive transition from where you lived? Was it a big difference?
It was, because I lived here for a year when I was 20, studying, and then I came back when I was 22. And then I lived here for a year, and then I started my postgraduate degree. So I think I sort of eased my way into it.
Yeah. So you had a bit of experience when you came back. So that's an interesting dog's name, not Jane. Sorry, guys. This is going to be coming all the way through. So obviously you came to university and you became, you studied your craft and you became a teacher. At what point did you start thinking, do you know what, I want to write? This is what I want to do. What point was that? And was there anything that kind of triggered that, or was it just a thought that came around?
I'd always wanted to be an author. So I'd wanted to write since I was a little girl. And I wrote my first novel when I was 11 years old in a notebook. Wow. And I was writing all through high school and all my teenage years. And then when I got to university, I made the mistake of taking a creative writing course, which told me that I couldn't write at all. So, it was awful. I would love to run into the person who taught that course. I would have
Are you telling me you didn't send a few books their way after you sold over 1 million? There you go.
I can't remember their name. Even if I could remember their name, I can't remember their name. So, so I give it up.
That can almost be a fault for, like, you may never have written after that because of what you thought. And
Yeah.
how terrible would that have been?
I know. I think I think you have to be careful with the creative writing courses you take, see who's teaching them and what their background is and what sort of teacher they are, because it was no good for me. I did take a course though, which was in the teaching of writing, because I became a peer writing tutor and at university. And it was the theory of teaching of writing. And that was probably the most useful course I've ever taken, because it taught me a lot about teaching, but it also taught me a lot of things about things like structure, about audience, about tone, about using verbs, the real basic sort of building blocks of craft. Even though it wasn't a writing course, it was a teaching writing course. I learned a huge amount from that.
So Julie, how did you make that transition from studying all the time to then you were like teaching, and then you thought, well, I still want to do the writing element? So how did that all sort of merge together?
Yeah, so I gave up because I didn't think I was any good at it. And then when I hit 30, I was a full-time secondary school English teacher, and I decided, this dream isn't going to make itself happen. So I just need to write a book. But I wasn't sure what kind of book to write. So I actually picked up one of the manuscripts that I wrote when I was a teenager, which was a mistake, maybe looking back. A bit of a mistake. But I picked it up and I finished it. And I joined the Romantic Novelists Association in the UK. If you join the Romantic Novelists Association, it's a professional organization, but they take a certain number of unpublished authors. And part of that is that they offer you a free critique on a manuscript. So I sent mine in, and I was like, oh, great. All right, I'll send it in. And it was so bad.
Oh, no.
So bad. And I think I got my report back from the very kind reader at the RNA, and they pointed out one good thing, I think, in chapter 4, but the rest was critical. That you have a problem with this, your characterization is bad, my prose style was okay, but my structure was awful, my plotting, my everything was terrible. But by then I had got the bug. So by the time I got the report back, I had already written most of a second novel, because I was obsessed by then. I think most writers are pretty obsessive people. And I had really tempted. So I just wrote another one, and then I sent that one off to a publisher, and it got rejected. But by then I'd written another one. So, so then I sent that one off to a publisher, and it got rejected. So then I wrote another one, and that one got published. And then while I was waiting for that one to be considered, I had written another one, and that one got picked up by an agent. So I wrote very quickly, failed a lot, and then finally got an agent and a publisher within about a month of each other.
But you ultimately learned from those experiences. And it kind of reminds me of a story, and Vivenia's on the chat, and she said, sounds like the time my teachers said I should step out of school because I was bad at English. It shows how influential teachers are, and both of you, Chris Hooley, as well as an English teacher, are pivotal in this. Are pivotal in these people's lives, because when I was in school as well, I remember I've mentioned this before, and I've written it in my website, that I was laughed at basically in class because of a story I'd written in English. And yes, I was very inexperienced, didn't know what I was doing, but that really put me off the idea that I was good at any sort of English completely. And I'm released my first book at 35, and it wasn't because of any belief I had in school. So it just shows how pivotal that moment is. And even with courses like you did, you've got to be very careful with what you take as real belief, words of belief. These people might not be telling the truth, even in their position of power. So it's a tough one, isn't it?
It's not even that they're not telling the truth. It might be that they're not telling the truth in the right way, or that their perception of what is good writing is different from your perception. Maybe they don't understand what you're trying to do. Maybe they think that you should be writing literary fiction when really you want to write a romance novel, or a science fiction novel or whatever. So there's so many factors that you have to take into account before you can really trust the criticism that you receive. Although in my case, that first novel was super bad. So
was the criticism, did it say it's like a child wrote this? Well, actually a teenager.
A teenager wrote this strange by a 30-year-old woman, but
hello, Jamie. It's the dog, Sophie.
We could try. Let's see. Sophie. No.
Not Sophie. Yes, Anya says it sounds like an awesome networking opportunity despite the heavy dose of criticism. Again, that criticism may have been accurate in some cases, so potentially, but yeah, it does sound like a good opportunity. Is that something, looking back, you would do again if you had the chance?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I think joining the RNA, joining a professional organization and getting a network of writers was the most valuable thing I could have done. Because I wrote through learning, not through studying how to write. I learned to write through two sips of wine. What's going on? I learned to drink more, really. Through writing, not through going to courses or whatever. And so having other writers, people who are succeeding and failing and who are going through the same thing, or who I found a couple of mentors through that organization as well, who were really useful and very kind to me. So definitely.
So Julie, how has that process changed for you from being a really busy full-time teacher and writing book after book after book? How did you fit the time in then? And has that time changed and adapted and your writing process changed?
Yes. So I used to write, I probably wrote 4 novels a year. They were short novels, but for those first few years, before I was published and when I was first published, I probably wrote 3 or 4 novels a year. And I would do it in the evenings and at weekends and during school holidays. And I wasn't a parent then, so I had a lot more time. And, I gave up a lot of social life and whatever. I just became obsessed and wrote all the time. Now I'm a full-time author. I'm also a parent. So my time, the window of time I have is smaller, but also I'm really horribly spoiled now, because now I'm just like, well, I can't write unless I have like I have to sit at my desk and I can't have the internet on and I have to have, music and, it has to be calm. It didn't used to be like that. I used to just write anywhere and everywhere. And
what do they call that with their celebrities, that they have like a list? What's that called? And they go in the green room and they give a list in.
Is it like the rider? Yeah.
A rider. You have a rider now.
Writing rider.
Brilliant. So out of interest, do you have a specific music? Because this has been talked about a lot on our show. You mentioned music for writing. Is there something specific that you listen to, or like a certain playlist?
It depends on the book.
Yeah.
So for this book, sorry, I've got my books with me. So this book, Together, I only listened to 2 albums while I wrote it. I listened to Glenn Gould's Goldberg Variations, which is referred to several times in the text. So the characters have a boat called Goldberg and Goldberg Variations. And I also listened to Sufjan Stevens' Carrie and Lowell. Do you know that album? And I only listened to those 2 albums on repeat because they summed up exactly what the book was about. This one, on the other hand, this one's sort of, a lot of it is set in like 80s, early 90s in Maine. And I listened to Billy Joel all the time. That was what was on the radio in 80s, 90s, rural Maine.
80s in Maine. That's not Evan, is it? Evan's involved in that book somewhere? Is that near? No, I don't know.
No.
So it's obviously quite influential, the music that you listen to. With me, it's kind of more just it's something that fades out in the background, but you're suggesting that actually influences the text that goes into the work. So it's quite important what live music you listen to, I guess. If you were to write, say, a thriller novel, would you then, change that for something a bit darker?
Yes. Yeah. Or even, really, actually, I was working on a thriller just for fun, and I was mostly listening to the Pet Shop Boys.
Wow.
I think it's,
was this more a Clockwork Orange type of thriller, or?
I can't tell you about it. It's secret.
It's amazing.
So Julie,
dark stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Like it. I was going to say, we have some sort of staple writing community chat show questions that we always ask. And one of them is, if you could change the ending to any novel that you've ever read, which novel would that be and why?
Anna Karenina. I mean, seriously, the ending of that book is such a bummer. It really is, not to give any spoilers away, but Anna Karenina did not deserve that ending. That pisses me off a lot.
It. You're actually very quick to respond to that question. Normally people go, "Oh no, I don't know about that." But
I have no respect.
In there, bang.
Have you got the book there together? Have you got that next to you?
Yeah.
So that one there, someone left a review of this, and I want to talk about this because it's quite impressive. It says, "In all our years of book group, I swear I don't think a book caused me so much wrangle and debate between us. And even after a few weeks of meeting to discuss together, we were still chatting and debating about this." What is that about? How did you create something that obviously caused so much debate? And was there any kind of thought in doing that, or did it just kind of happen naturally?
It was an intrinsic part of the book. And actually, your last question was, is there a book whose ending I would change? When I originally wrote this book, I wrote it for my then publisher. And it's a love story told backwards. And there's a twist at the end, which is what people talk about. And when I originally wrote it for my publisher, they wanted me to change the ending. But because I had planned the whole book to lean towards this ending, and it's actually the beginning, because it's about a couple, it starts at the end of a couple's life and then it goes backwards to the day they meet. So it's actually the beginning of their story, but the end of the book, because it's written backwards. But my publisher wanted me to change the ending. And I went through a lot of soul searching to work out whether I should or not, because I trusted my publisher. It is a big and very reputable and excellent publisher. And I decided after much soul searching that I couldn't change the ending, that I really believed in that ending, that the whole book was leading towards it, that was the point of the book. And if I changed the book, it would become worse. Even if it sold better, it would become worse. So I left the publisher. I pulled the novel. I paid back my advance, which was my yearly salary, and scared to freaking death. But then I found another publisher who published it. So the ending of this novel is very deliberate. It is chosen for controversy. It's chosen to have people talk about it. That was the whole point of
that's
this.
amazing. I mean, the big question I've got there is, as self-published authors, and there's a lot of them that listen to this show, a lot of new authors as well. And we've talked about, Anya says that's brave. Dang, she loves that word. Talked about how, how, if you're published and you're required to change your work, what would you feel about it? But you obviously put in that position, and very well done to you to sticking with your guns and saying, no, this is my work and that's the ending I want. But I was going to say, what would you do? Obviously, what happened as a result of that? But you actually left the publishing company as a result.
Yes.
That's a huge step for you, who, because a lot of people, that publishing company is their chance to get to where they want to go.
Yeah.
So what was your thought at that time? Were you thinking, I'm just going to go and...
I was terrified. The thing is that I have to put it into context. This is my 15th, 16th novel. I mean, I had written a lot of novels beforehand, and generally editorial suggestions are solid gold, right? So generally everything that my editor tells me to do, I do, or I do something similar to it, because they are very good at their job and I trust them. In this case, they were wrong. This person is no longer my editor, so I can say that. This book has gone on to sell a lot. It was a Sunday Times bestseller. It's won awards. It was optioned for TV. They were wrong, and but I was terrified to leave them. I was pretty sure that I wasn't going to write again under my own name. I was sure that I would get a bad reputation, and that nobody would pick up the book. And that was the end. I mean, my American publisher didn't take it either, because they didn't like the ending. So that was also a very big risk. So yeah, it was good that I had another job. So I knew that if worse came to worse, I could go back to teaching. I knew that I wasn't going to, lose the house, not be able to feed my kid. So I think it's pretty important as a writer to have another job to fall back on. And most of us have to anyway, right? We don't have a choice about that. But it was a comfort to know that it would be okay. And that's when I didn't think that I was going to be published again, that's when I wrote this book, which is my newest novel, because this book is a historical novel. And I wrote this after, while the whole Together thing was going on, when I thought that I wasn't going to be published again. And I thought, well, what the hell? I'm going to write a lesbian Victorian novel with ghosts in it under a different name. What the hell? What could go wrong? But that ended up being published as well.
That's a very similar cover I noticed as well. I think, is it with the last book you picked up? Was that Together? He's got like the swirls on it as well. Very similar covers. Yeah. Was that a choice by you, or is that something that was thought of separately, or just kind of coincidental?
I have a really brilliant cover designer, in-house cover designer. She doesn't do all the illustrations, but she sort of project manages and puts everything together. But a lot of discussion between us.
Do you have a favorite cover?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Although
if we can talk about
version of this is better. I can't go get it.
So Spirited came out this summer, and it's had great reviews as well. And a lot of your books has been praised by a lot of big authors as well. So obviously that was a big part of your career. And at some point that would have been the first when someone very established talked about your work. Is that always felt like, do you still feel if someone respected in the work, is that still a nice feeling for you?
Oh my God, it's the best. Yeah. It's the best. It's amazing. You're like, holy shit, they like me. They really
It's brilliant.
So Julie, you've talked about, obviously Spirited is your last book, but you've written loads of books in this whole sort of process and this writing journey that you've been on. What's been your favorite one to write, if you have one? I know you're not supposed to say that you have a favorite child or a favorite book. And why do you think you've dabbled in so many sort of different genres in that respect as well?
Well, I get bored, so I like to be challenged and to try new things. So it doesn't always work when I try new things, but I do like to have a go. And also, I think because I've been a published author since 2004, so 16 years now. My books, I think, are getting more complicated and more complex because I have the experience, but also I like to play. So that's what goes on. My favorite, this Together is probably my favorite because it changed my life, and I had to make a huge change in everything because of that. But this one is probably right now the closest to my heart because it's set in my hometown, and a lot of it is based on personal experience. And this book was like a game to write because the concept of this book is that it's the same protagonist, Lou, in two different realities. And in one reality, Lou is born male, assigned male at birth. And in the other reality, Lou is assigned female at birth. And because of their different gender, everything is different. Like they have the same parents, the same family, the same house, the same job, the same everything, except for the gender. That is the only change. And so writing this book to me was a game where I started with one premise and then took it off in two separate directions. But my challenge was I could only make the changes according to gender and how other people, and Lou was the same in both. The only thing that was different was how other people treated them.
How did you go about like narrating a challenge like that?
I was going to say, there's a question which came up from Halo was asking about that, and you just answered it fantastically. So if I let Chris carry on with that question.
No, I just said how did you go about narrating something like that as a writer, in terms of like, did you have to really plot it in detail, or did you sort of go with the feeling of the book?
I plotted it out in detail. I always recently I plot my books out in detail. Writing a book backwards, you have to learn to plot. have in detail and in 2 different realities. So I did plot it out. This sort of has 3 different realities in it. It has one reality with Louis, one reality with Louise, and then there's the reality with both of them, where they're referred to as Lou and referred to as they. So there are certain things that happen to both of them. And then this book, because of this concept, I needed to have an omniscient narrator who is not the protagonist. So that sort of really old-fashioned device that Thomas Hardy uses, or Jane Austen, or Dickens, you know, and so I got to use that device, you know, sort of almost telling the story from above. Yeah. So, and because it's set in my hometown, it has things that really happened in my hometown in it. I really enjoyed sort of going home to write this book almost.
And Julie, one of the questions that we ask, I suppose it's quite, when you write such a personal novel like that, we always ask if you had any sort of strange or weird encounters with fans, but I'm going to flip it a little bit today, because I should imagine you get quite a lot of people reaching out to you for very different reasons. Have you had like really personal experiences where you've, you know, it's really touched somebody about, you know, the writing that you've done, and they've got in contact with you as a result of that?
It happens quite often. With this book, because we're talking about this book, Lou in both realities is bisexual, and I am bisexual. But about the time when I was writing this book, I decided it was time to sort of come out very openly. And I wrote a piece which is on Medium about coming out in midlife, and I get messages really on a regular basis from readers of that piece, but also of this, who you know, people in their midlife who are coming to terms for the first time with their sexuality, and you know, they trust me enough to write to me about that, which is extraordinary, incredibly brave, and I really admire the people who get in touch, and it's very touching to me.
There's a few comments coming in. Anya says, "I just got together." Not I just got together. I got the book together because it sounds awesome. I like the idea of Spirited, something on my wish list, wish list, and this show is awesome. It makes my TB read list so bloated. Festivities going on there. Yeah, there's definitely some great questions in, so we'll have to try and fit them in. In Spirited, one of the characters is a medium. This is from Halo. Have you had any paranormal encounters to inspire this character?
Oh, nice. Good
Great
question.
question, Halo. Thank you.
It is a good question. In Spirited, the medium, it's not a spoiler to say that the medium character in Spirited, who's called Henriette Blackthorne, is actually fake. Although there are real ghosts in the book, Henriette Blackthorne is a charlatan. And she is a medium because she comes from a working class background, very poor. She was a housemaid, and she was incredibly clever. And she educated herself, and she made her way up in the world through various ploys that she had, through using men, getting married, lying, pretending to be a spirit medium, and all of those things. So she's on the make. And however, the sort of ingenue character, Viola, who is Henriette's love interest, is a photographer, an amateur photographer who takes pictures of ghosts by mistake. So she's taking pictures of live people or dead people as well, and ghosts just sort of show up in the background, and so
they're the worst kind, right? That's the worst kind.
And while I was writing the book, I did actually encounter a ghost.
Okay.
I was up in.
Do tell.
I think I was writing about the spirit photography aspects of it, and I was up in Yorkshire at a place called Pondon Hall, which is this amazing old house, incredible, where the Brontes spent some time. The Bronte sisters, and it's said to be the inspiration for both Wuthering Heights and Thrushcross Grange in Wuthering Heights.
Wow.
And there's a bedroom there, which Emily Bronte drew a picture of the window in there. So they know that Emily has been in that room. Emily Bronte was in that room, and they have a bed in there, which is a recreation of the box bed in the book Wuthering Heights. And so I stayed there, and I was sleeping in that bed, and I woke up in the middle of the night because the covers had been pulled off me. I sort of sat up and I said, "Hi, I'd like to sleep here. Can I sleep? Thanks." And so it let me sleep. But I encountered that ghost a few more times in that room. As I was writing, I was listening to some classical music, and the volume of my music kept on being turned down. And
they weren't a fan.
Sorry,
they weren't a fan. No,
they weren't a fan. It was just Chopin. It wasn't anything offensive. It wasn't like AC.
It wasn't Beethoven. No.
I love the fact that you had your covers taken off you, and you're like, I would like to sleep, please. I paid for this room. You know what? Please just let me sleep.
Yeah.
But it's not a frightening ghost. I've definitely walked into rooms and felt scared, but this room doesn't feel frightening at all. It feels like there's somebody in it, maybe sometimes, but it doesn't. And it feels like there's a lot of history, but it's not frightening. And so my friend Rowan Coleman spends a lot of time up there. She loves that house. And she just said to me before I spent the night there, she said, just talk to the ghost. Just tell it that, you're grateful that you were allowed to sleep in their room, and they'll be fine to you. And that's what happened. I just said,
I just want to sleep.
Yeah. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Thank you for letting me stay in your room. Just please let me sleep now.
That is a fantastic story, and I love the concept of someone taking photos and accidentally discovering ghosts in the background, because there's kind of nothing worse than that, is there? That you just take a selfie, which happens often now on a phone, and then you look at that selfie and there's something behind you. It's kind of a creepy thought. So
maybe next year, Chris, when COVID disappears, we'll go and stay there.
Yeah,
not that far away.
There's plenty of vlogging ideas that you'll know about that we're trying to get this show on the road properly for, and when COVID's done, we'll definitely do these sort of things 100%, and we can't wait. Well, I can't wait. I'll shit my pants, but so we're going to move on slightly to Not Wrong with Chopping. I like me a nocturne. Is this what I don't understand? What's that?
That's the name of the pieces that Chopin was writing. Nocturnes, his most famous preludes and nocturnes.
I'm just very stupid, so it's fine. Let's move on to we've got I think ghosts may be very appropriate for this. We've got a new family member. This is a section we kind of do in the middle of the show when there's a new person on Twitter that we find that's is either a writer or part of the writing community, and we kind of give back by following them as a group that are watching the show and plaguing their Twitter feed with GIFs of something. So, Julie, is there an idea of something you want to plague them with?
Ghosts.
Ghosts? Oh, that's a great idea. So, ghosts. I think last year, where am I going? Wednesday. Last year. Wednesday, Mr. Hooley had a go at me a little bit because I had too many people on... they were followed by too many people, so it wasn't really a new member.
Yeah, but they had like 2,500 followers.
Yeah, it's still kind of working it.
Anything below 400 is like a good boost.
Okay, so we'll do the little intro, and then I'll put the details up, and we can follow this person and plague them with GIFs of ghosts. So, the person we need to find is Daniel Kiss. Great name, by the way. At Dan_the_writer. He's a determined young man wanting to become a widely successful author. So he's got one follower, and that one follower is the Writing Community Chat Show.
No way.
Oh, that guy, Mr. Hooley, he has no one following him.
Are you gonna freak out this poor dude by sending him GIF?
Absolutely.
Should it be Schitt's Creek ones instead? Because those are nice.
No. Well, it's up to you.
Schitt's Creek.
He's got 2 followers apparently. Is it a locked account?
He's gone up in World. No, it wasn't. Well, it doesn't have to be something scary, and you can write is from
at Dan the Writer.
Yeah.
gonna
You
say-
can definitely say it's from the Writing Community Chat Show because that does help. @_Dan. This is really hard to do with one hand. I'm a left hand. Later. Bear with us. I can never find this guy. It's terrible.
All right, I
So
found him.
okay, that's him. It's got all the nice colors and stuff at the top. Yeah, definitely, that's him.
Play Game with Ghosts.
So play Game with Ghosts and just write love from the Writing Community Chat Show or whatever you want to do. And welcome him to the family. What do you think of that, Julie? Is that a weird thing to do?
It's a lovely thing to do as long as they know that you're doing it.
Otherwise, it gets a bit scary, right?
Does get a bit creepy. So, on the subject of ghosts, we do have a Writing Community Chat Show question that we always ask that we haven't asked yet. But when
How
you're,
is that close to ghosts?
this is a great link. If you listen, it will make
Tedious,
sense.
very tedious link.
Yeah. So, so you're on your deathbed and you're looking back at your writing career. What are you going to be happy with? What is success for you?
I think it's what we were talking about before when readers have got in touch and they have said that reading one of my books has helped them in some way, or something that I've written has helped them in some way. Some of the best. I got a reader letter one time from a woman who was suffering from a brain tumor. And she had just been diagnosed, and she was diagnosed and went through treatment very, very quickly because it was very aggressive. And she had a terminal diagnosis, but she was going through treatment in order to prolong her life. And while she was in hospital, she read one of my books. And she wrote to me. And she said, it was extraordinary. I mean, this woman is suffering, the most frightening thing that you can think of. And she said, you gave me hours where I just had pleasure. And that is the most precious gift that anybody can give me.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. And I think because of that, that's one of the reasons why I've always said that, escapist fiction is a huge gift to people. When you're going through a hard time, knowing that you can read something that's going to take you away for a few hours, that's going to show you a different world, maybe a better world, but maybe it's just a different world. It's a real gift that you can give to people. So I think that's it.
It's amazing. I think that's probably the best answer we've ever had for that, Chris.
Yeah, we don't have a prize for best answer, but yeah, if we had one, we'd give it you.
Can you send me some gifts of ghosts?
Yeah. For the people that can't find him, I couldn't find him either, but I've just shared it from the Writing Community Chat Show with Mr. Hooley's GIF, which was fantastic. Because he shared the GIF of the ghost kissing Demi Moore in the film Ghost, which is fantastic.
I did. I thought instantly of the romantic link, obviously, of Julie's novels. And then I thought, yes, nice little kiss there.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Definitely. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next stage with the community questions, which we all answer between us. There's some random ones in there. I will apologize that I populated on Wednesday that we didn't use. So, Julie, I hope you don't mind random. And we still have no one's won the dog. No one's won the dog.
Guessed my dog's name. Look, she's really relaxed. She's so relaxed, because nobody's guessed her name yet.
I will rephrase that no one's won the dog. You can't win the dog, but you can guess the dog's name. And
maybe we should make it a little bit easier because there are a lot of female names. So maybe if we said how many letters were in it.
People saying names on there, they don't deserve it. There's no effort going in.
Yeah, well, maybe saying how many letters were in the name would at least make it a little bit fair.
Dog's looking at stretching like it's tired, and no, I can't do that.
We want someone to win.
Like what?
Is the dog's name, Chris? You can read this.
Copernicus.
Claire?
Copernicus.
No.
Charlotte.
Copernicus.
So Spartan. Ash.
Spartan. Your dog. No.
It really doesn't. It really knows its name. So let's go on to the writing thing. So, Okay, writing community question time. Do we have a video for that?
We did
a
have,
bad
and it
one.
was great.
Oh, this one. The dog is living her best life. Apparently.
Yes.
Okay, random questions. If peanut butter wasn't called peanut butter, what would it be called?
Snug.
Snug. Okay, I like that. Chris?
Squashed peanuts. I don't know.
Squash peanuts.
I have no idea.
Oh my goodness. Sticky gooey. I don't know.
Sticky gooey? That's not even peanut related.
Is the dog called Sophie?
No.
Oh, I think Dave wins this one. Dave Chewy Paste. But
Beige chewy paste.
I think Beige Chewy Paste wins. Bella.
No.
Is it Bella?
Bella.
Dolly.
Dolly.
Boiled peanuts. Anya. That's not very good. Okay. Which body part do you wish you could detach and why? Chris?
I'm going to say my head, because then I could be present somewhere and I could be doing other stuff. So I could have a chat but clean the house at the same time.
Yeah, that's like in a film somewhere, I'm sure.
Have you seen Ghosts? The BBC series Ghosts that's done by the people who did Horrible Histories, because one of the ghosts is a Tudor gentleman, a Tudor nobleman who's had his head cut off, and he has to carry it around.
I have seen that, yes.
Yeah, I like the idea of that. That'd be
Is the dog called Lucy?
quite useful.
Lucy.
Macy?
Macy, good dog, Macy. No.
What a disciplined dog this is. Terry. It's a she.
Hey, Terry can be a girl's name.
What a great podcast. If you are in witness protection program, what would be your new name and where would you go? I like this question.
Bathsheba.
Sorry?
Bathsheba Jones would be my name. And I would go to New York City.
Mixing with all the people. Chris?
I'm going to say Terry Tequila. And he sits in a bar somewhere.
Oh, just anywhere?
Yeah, anywhere, not a specific place. Tequila, Mexico, maybe.
Any bar in the world, he's there.
Yeah. Tequila.
Yeah. I will be Sammy Seven Fingers. And I will just hang about on a ship somewhere.
Nice.
I don't know. That's a random one. Whiskey.
Whiskey.
There's a lot of E's. Layla.
Layla.
Anya's taking it too far. I don't even know what that says.
Is that Bathsheba?
From the far meddling crowd. I'm not sure what that says. Okay, so let's move on. That's random. Okay, this is a nice one. Which of your own characters that you created do you love the most and why? Have you got one? For you, it might be hard, Julie, because you've got a lot. I have kind of a few. Chris has like a few as well. So we'll go first because I'll give you time to think because you've got many character. Chris, have you got one?
Yeah, I'm going to say the new character that I've been working on.
Tell us more.
His name's Oscar Wilde, but it's spelt with an E. And he's a serial killer. So, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. He's not a welder. But yeah, I'm really enjoying like his tone and his vibe and everything at the moment. So yeah, I mean,
cool.
He'd be my favorite.
I think I've got to go with Daisy. Although there's a lot of characters in that series that I like. I got to go with Daisy, and I've got a new novella with a lot of characters in. Sticking with Daisy. Julie, have you got one?
Do you know, it's always the secondary characters that just turn up and sort of steal things that are my favorite. And they tend to be teenage girls in my book. the teenage girls turn up in my novels, and that's it. I just adore them, and they just have their own way. But I think probably as a main character, I think the fake medium that I was talking about in this one, Blackthorn, whose real name is Harriet Smith. I love her very, very much. I like
Julie, how do you come up with your characters' names? Like, do you have a process for that?
Yeah, I always name everybody exactly the same thing. And for some reason, I have like no imagination for characters' names at all. So I just always name everybody Angela. And I don't know why. It starts with A and it ends with A. I don't know. So I always have to then go back and change everybody's name so they're not.
Guys.
Yeah, but I try to make when I actually choose the names, I try to make them suit the character or go against the character's personality. So either go with, very much with, or very much go against the character's personality.
It's very interesting.
The sort of Dickens element coming out in you in terms of naming. Yeah. So you were talking before about learning to teach people to write. What were like the 3 biggest tips that you got from that course, and like how could they apply to people watching that are writing at the moment?
In that course, the main one, the biggest tip that I got, which completely carried me through not only my writing career, but also my teaching career and also my postgraduate research, was to think about your reader. To think about your reader at all times. That writing, because this was for academic writing in particular, so you were thinking about the purpose of what you were writing, but I think it translates to fiction very well because you need to think about your reader's needs. And so often when you're writing something and you come up with a question like, how much backstory should I have? Does this need to go a little bit faster? Should I introduce this character? Does the subplot work? Or, whatever, what sort of ending should I have? I think if you think about your reader and what your reader needs and put your reader first in focus, that will help you understand the answers to those questions. And I really started off my career in very commercial fiction where you really have to think of the reader at all times because there is reader expectation, especially in writing something like genre romance. Your reader is really expecting certain things to happen. And I mean, that's true in a thriller as well, that you're expecting something to happen. But then when I moved out of sort of genre fiction and more into mainstream fiction, those thoughts are still at the forefront of my mind. So I'm like, what is the reader going to expect? How can I subvert that? Or what is the reader going to want to happen? And how can I make that happen in an unexpected way?
It seems the cool crew have arrived at 9 o'clock.
Fashionably late.
And I don't want to elaborate on Mario's comment. So that was a fantastic answer, and there was a lot of comments coming in to suggest that. So, and thank you for that. So we've got a game for you guys. That last year, what am I doing? On Wednesday,
2 days ago.
It's been a really, really long week. On Wednesday, we played a game, a Guess the Year game that was absolutely, Julie, put it this way. The things I was saying happened in that year were definitely not true. But they were on a list on the internet, so I instantly thought they were and believed they were true. They were not true. So this week, again, this year was coming out then. This week, it's not even the week, it's the same week. I've put together, because Chris Hooley said, why is it not writing based? Guess the year based on book releases. So you two have a competition.
Oh, don't put me in competition with Julie Cohen. Seriously.
It's happening. I was cruel.
Yeah, you were cruel.
No. So guess the year. And go on.
No, I said you gave us loads of false information and we were all shouting out years and it wasn't true. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's not my fault. Anyway, so these are about eight books that were released on this year. And some of them are known pretty well. So if one of you can guess this, then you'll be the winner. And that means not a lot, but pride is the winner. So are you ready?
Oh God!
If you wanna answer, just jump in. Okay. So book one.
Guessing, or is it in the chat that they're guessing?
Oh no, you two can guess, and if they get it right in the chat, I'll mention.
Are these all the same year, or are these separate years?
All the same year. All the same year. Battle time. Bring on the goats. So, this first book, Band of Brothers by Stephen Ambrose, was out this year. Shall I continue?
Yeah, keep going. I have no idea.
The faces suggest yes. Without Remorse by Tom Clancy.
Oh, he's quite prolific, so that could be.
Yeah, he's released so many books.
Again, I don't know.
If you got on the chat, guys, send them.
20th century, I'm guessing.
And don't cheat on the chat. The Sandman by Neil Gaiman, a game of view and fables and reflections.
Oh, no.
At the moment.
Do you see it? The Sandman with the second part is what's confusing because obviously there's different elements to that. Oh.
Already have a correct answer in the chat, and Mr. Hooley, do not look at the chat or I'll punch you in the face somehow.
I can't look at the chat.
I can guess the decade, but not the year.
No, it definitely doesn't matter.
No, I can't do the year there, mate.
There's years popping up in the chat, and it's that one person has it right. The Client by John Grisham.
Oh, early in the decade then, I'm guessing.
Yes, early in the decade.
92?
Nightmares and Dreamscapes by Stephen King. Anyone? Moving on. Bravo 20 by Andy McNabb. We've only got one left, so you need to hurry up. Guess, just have a guess, because
90
what?
1993.
Chris, you lose. It's 1993. Well done, Julie. So Chris, you just kind of sat there looking without saying words, which kind of
I was trying to think. That's what I was doing.
Well, you should have guessed. And the other one was Men at Arms by Terry Pratchett. Was indeed 1993, and well done to Anya, who was in there in a shot. First one to comment, 1993. Dave Middleham, 1998. It was not. Every single variety of fiction comes with an inbuilt audience of readers who are fans. Thanks for that. It was not 1995.
That was going to be my guess. I nearly said that.
See, look, Anya's just... sorry, Lala is just going 95, 98. She's just guessing. Julie is the champion.
Julie is the champion.
Yeah.
Although I don't mind getting beat in that way, but when the take that feeling still hurts. So...
well... I'm not being funny, Julie. A few weeks ago, we had Kristen Bailey. It's probably not a few weeks, is it? My time's all over the shop. Kristen Bailey came back to the show, and Chris Hooley and Kristen Bailey highlighted on Twitter that they were fans of Harry Styles. So I put together a nice quiz. I dressed up in my leopard print and, became Harry Styles for the evening and quizzed them both who knew nothing about Harry Styles. So fantastic it was.
What would your go-to like pop star or band or whatever be, Julie?
Yeah, I don't know. Is the Beatles? Is that just really sad? Because everybody knows about the Beatles.
It's not sad.
You can get on board with the Beatles, definitely.
Well, now you mention it, we've got some questions in that respect. And in fact, you might be able to do this on Twitch. Is there like a Twitch thing with lines? Is it like a poll thing? There's a quiz on there. Let me know if that works or not. Beatles or Elvis? Julie Cohen.
Oh, what? That's mean.
Not mean.
No, it is mean.
If you had to kill one, they're kind of dead. But if one of them had to go, which one would you pick? Which one would you keep?
Oh my God. Oh my God. No, I can't. You can't make somebody choose between Beatles and Elvis. That is like choosing between, no. That's
okay.
literally like choosing between Beatles and Elvis. No.
Okay. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Pause the Beatles, right? So.
My argument for picking Elvis would be when the Beatles met Elvis, they were starstruck and couldn't speak. So, yeah, I think if he wouldn't have existed, then the Beatles maybe might not have kicked off.
I'm with you on that one, Mario. Freddie Mercury beats both of those. What was I saying there? Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No.
Yes, no. Julie. There we go. See? This season, everyone has had common sense. Last season was terrible.
Nothing. What, the last 2 seasons? I win. Yes.
Yeah, no, but every single person this season has said no, it's an abomination, and they'd be right.
We're like 3 episodes into the season, Chris.
Yeah, but it's still a small victory for me. Listen, Noel Clark from Bulletproof told me to sort my life out because of pineapple on a pizza. So
And
I'll
you
never
haven't done it
forget.
yet. So, Skittles or Starburst?
Oh, Skittles.
Oh,
Yes, Julie. See,
I'm losing this one badly.
victory for Chris tonight.
Tea or coffee?
Tea.
What tea?
What tea?
Yeah.
Do you know, I just like a good old PG Tips.
Oh, no.
Look at his face.
Yorkshire tea. Come on, you went to a castle with a
Mr.
ghost.
Hooley
Yorkshire
loves
tea.
Yorkshire tea.
Yorkshire tea is also great.
Vivenia, pineapples are delicious on pizza. Yes, and Skittles. Okay. What else is there? Cake or pie?
Is this American Pie? Like,
Well, the only American pie I know didn't end well, so I'd say no. Just like a
But surely
pie.
you'd still pick that pie every time.
a pie.
No,
If it's like a fruit pie,
no,
then-
like a meat pie.
oh, then a meat pie?
Yeah,
I'm vegetarian, so cake.
a fruit pie.
Fruit pie, then a fruit pie. Because
Oh,
blueberry
really?
pie, for example, is the best food. That is food of the gods.
Okay,
That's
Death
better
cake.
than any cake.
death cake. Okay.
Choosing between
Let's,
cake and pie is very difficult because there's so many good variations of both.
kind of.
Like
I don't know.
cheesecake. You didn't even consider that, did you?
Is cheesecake a cake or a pie?
It's confusing.
Or a tart?
Ooh. Still no one's guessed the dog's name yet, by the way. It is cheesecake is either amazing or a letdown. That's a fantastic bookshelf to your left-hand side, by the way. Is there something amazing on there you can just pull out and think, this is the one?
Yes. There is, I don't know if it's in that bookshelf still, but like in that bookshelf, there's the double volume of the Elvis biography by Peter
Wow.
Link in there. There is Sandman on the top. Probably that volume that you mentioned that's on the top there. This is a lot of science fiction and biography in this bookcase.
Nice.
So what is your favorite genre as a reader?
I honestly read everything, absolutely everything that I can get my hands on. It depends on my mood. There are some moods where I just really need like good horror. There's sometimes when I just want a page-turning thriller. Sometimes I want a nice a romantic comedy, something to make me feel good. I read a lot of literary fiction, something that really makes me think. I love a good graphic novel. Yeah, fantasy. Honestly, there's nothing that I will not read.
Amazing.
Is there anyone that you've read that you would love to like collaborate with?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Lots of people. A lot of them dead.
If you go to the right room, that might be possible. You never know.
Have we tried Lucy already?
Lucy,
Yeah,
we
we
have
have to.
tried Lucy. I can try it again. Lucy.
No, not Lucy.
No.
People are missing out on book sales here. Come on. Fun fact, around 180,000 new and revised books are published in the UK each year.
Wow.
So that's what you're fighting against, guys. Oh, the dog moved. That's 180,000 books that are getting published officially.
I can
Not to
definitely
mention-
believe that though, because like just through going on Amazon and NetGalley and stuff every single like day, you know, looking at new authors and stuff, it's like I've got to the point now where my favorite authors are releasing books by the time I've got through my books. Like literally on Friday I'd sort of finished my to be read list for a little bit, and then 3 new books came out and I was like, what? I'll go read these.
You poor thing.
I know, constantly reading.
Yeah, but it's taken me 6 months to read half a book, and he reads about a book in a week. So
Sorry.
did I say the name?
Didn't. I
Did you say the name?
No.
Did you give it away just then? Because that might help people. Can we have a hint about the dog?
Yeah, we definitely need a hint for the dog's name.
Julie, can we have what's a letter of the dog's name, not the first or the last? What's one letter within in the middle somewhere?
The letter in the middle is E.
There you go, guys. Not Ari. That's a cool name, though. That's off Game of Thrones, right? Is that an Ari? Let's look at 6 more shows to our Christmas special. By the way, which we will be streaming, I think, if we can work this out properly, purely on Twitch for the engagement side of things, if we can figure this out, it'd be lots of fun. Is it Meg?
Can you see her?
Yeah.
Meg. Meg. You good dog, Meg. Meggie. Meg.
Is that a no?
Actually, that's a yes. That is her name.
Hey, Milhen, we have a winner. It's Meg. And
good dog.
just like the rest,
Maggie.
just like every other name, the dog slightly moved. Meg, hello to you. And Dave, please tell me you got a book. I've got a feeling you haven't.
No, yeah, he has. We bought his poetry book before.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we did.
But we can definitely send him a copy of one of Julie's books as well that he selects.
We will do that to you, Dave. We will send you a copy of Julie's book.
Thank you.
If you've got a preference, let us know on the chat and we can ask Julie if we can get all of that. I was close with Rex.
Rex is a good name. I did not name this dog. She came with this name. She was a rescue.
Okay.
But cute. Rex would have been a good name for her.
I want the mood of the dog. What does that mean?
I think the dog just looks pretty chilled and pretty happy, so that's the mood.
She wants that mood.
Yeah. Don't we all? Like, look at that dog. It's just loving life.
Just chill out. You know, you can have it. It's not a thing. Cool. Right. Well done, Dave. Oh, chilled. Yeah. I have a high school friend named Rex. This is really going off subject here. Julie, what's coming out in your world? Have you got anything that's kind of lined up? Are you swapping genres anytime soon? Or is there anything you kind of want people to look out for?
I am, let's see, the paperback of Spirited will be out in May, I think. I'm working on another book now, but I don't know when that will come out. What I've done most recently is I've just launched an online course, which is called Using Post-its to Transform Your Writing.
Wow.
And that, if you go to my Twitter account, it's the pinned post on there with a link to that. And until Sunday, it's 30% off with the code first week. So if you're looking for a writing course, it's sort of fun and it's interactive. It's all online. It's all videos and exercises. Yeah, you can get 30% off.
Nice.
It's fantastic.
And Julie, we do always ask, sorry, Chris, we always ask you if, again, we go back to somebody else's deathbed this time. But if somebody only had time to read one of your novels, which novel would you suggest that they read?
Probably Together. Yeah, because then they would die thinking, oh my God, I want to discuss that ending with someone, and then they would die. It would be so frustrating. It would be a beautiful thing. That
would be a terrible death. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe I was at peace. I read this book and now fuck. I'm dying. I don't know the answers. That maybe not a great book to read before you die, but I don't know. I got a tip, Chris. If you don't have time to read, you simply don't have the time or the tools to write. Simple as that by Stephen King. Do you approve this week?
100%.
Yay! Every week he slams me for my tips that are by famous people. Julie, last week, not last year, we had a comment from someone who won the Nobel Prize for literacy, and he slagged off the comment. So
I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't a great one. It was one of those sort of like, it wasn't. It was one of them that kind of put you off a little bit, and so we had to discuss it and pull it apart. But that's a great one. Well done. I mean, to be fair, if Stephen King said you have to write in your underpants, like I would agree with that as well. But you know, he's the grandmaster.
Well, I can't take credit for the comment, but you know, I found it. Okay, cool. So, Julie, have you got a website people can look for your stuff on?
Sure. It is julie-cohen.com.
Excellent. And guys, thank you so much for all your questions. Just because someone is successful doesn't mean their advice is good. Mario, I thought you were on my side. We're going to fall out, my friend. No cooking show for you. That's all I can say. Yeah, I think it's been a fantastic show, Julie. We honestly had a great time, and it's a great website. Oh, whoa, that's what I was going to say. And before we shoot off, let me ask this question that Halo asked earlier about your website, because I don't want to miss it out. Let me find it. There's something about your website. Where is it? Oh, okay. There's an amazing story on your website about your dream coming true of you having your book in the library, on the library shelf. Can you talk to us about this before we shoot off?
Sure. I grew up right up the hill from the library, from the Rumford Public Library in Rumford, Maine, small town in rural Maine. And I used to go there every week to get books out. It was just absolutely the sort of building of wonder for me. And then when I was 16, I got a job working there as a library page. And so I got to see all the books when they came in, put them on the shelf, just spend my life surrounded by books. I used to go to the Harlequin romance section and like read all the dirty bits. And I used to love it. I would work my way through the shelves, just tasting all the books, not literally tasting them, but looking at them, reading them. And I adored it. And that was my dream, was to be on the shelf of the Rumford Public Library. And since then, every time I have had a book published, I have taken a copy personally to the Rumford Public Library and given it to the librarian there so they can put it on the shelf.
That is a fantastic story.
Do you sign it as well? And
Yes, I think I do. Yes.
Nice.
Yes. That's amazing. That's a true win. That's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, Julie Cohen, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute fantastic show. We've loved having you on, and what a great conversation. And I really hope that your future continues and these books carry on to you hit the roof, and you just continue with that. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I have had such a fun time, and so is Meg. She's really
Meg. Finally, Meg. Well done to Dave. We'll supply you a book from Julie. Let us know which one you want. But fantastic. Honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure. For me, Chris, anything else?
No, just reiterate everything everyone's already said. Absolutely amazing. And if I could give you a standing ovation, I would, but I'm in the cupboard under the stairs, so I won't be doing that.
See his mid-waist, and a couple of weeks ago it was my ass, so you don't want to see either of those things. But thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching with us. It's been fantastic. We love having your comments. Please like, subscribe, share, all those things. Please check out Julie's website and our sponsor for the show tonight. Fantastic book. It's a book debut, book release today, so please check that out. Up there in the corner, romantic stuff. So please check them out and support us as best you can and as you are. So because without you we don't grow, and we want to do more things like this because Julie's fantastic guest. So thank you guys, and we will see you on Wednesday. So please look out for who's coming on the show. Season 3 is booked up pretty much already, which is kind of crazy. But we're loving it still. So thank you very much. And we'll speak to you Wednesday. Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.